It's not an exaggeration to say that without the Willamette River, the valley that shares its name would look far different today. It was the river's fertile farmlands and floodplains, after all, that made it such an appealing home for generations of Native Americans and Oregon Trail emigrants. And easy river access has long made it possible to travel around Eugene, Corvallis, Albany, and Salem. All cities through which the Willamette River flows today. Fed by mountain tributaries south of Eugene, the Willamette River flows northward for nearly 200 miles before emptying into the Columbia River near Portland. Along the way, it passes through cities large and small, boasts dramatic wildlife viewing opportunities, offers all manner of outdoor recreation, and showcases the natural beauty of the iconic Willamette Valley. Flowing northward between the Oregon Coast Range and the Cascade Range, the river and its tributaries form the Willamette Valley, a basin that contains 2/3 of Oregon's population, including the state capital, Salem, and the state's largest city, Portland. With significant annual precipitation and moderate evaporation, the Willamette is somewhat of an anomaly among American rivers. The Willamette Basin discharges more runoff per acre than any other large river in the United States, with most of it occurring during the winter rainy season. David Douglas, the Scottish botanist who traveled through the Willamette Valley in the dry, hot months of late autumn 1826, witnessed spectacular changes to the valley landscape when he returned in November after the seasonal rains had begun. In place of the charred countryside on his trip up the valley, he now reported lush, green prairie grasses, occasional marshlands, and small lakes. Originally created by plate tectonics about 35 million years ago and subsequently altered by volcanism and erosion, the river's drainage basin was significantly modified by the Missoula floods at the end of the most recent ice age. Humans began living in the watershed over 10,000 years ago. There were once many tribal villages along the lower river and in the area around its mouth on the Columbia. Indigenous peoples lived throughout the upper reaches of the basin as well. Their alterations to the river and its tributaries were minor, other than building traps to catch salmon and steelhead and using the waterway for transportation. Those relatively stable ecological relationships, however, began to change with the arrival of ever-increasing numbers of European Americans during the 1840s and 1850s. The introduction of cattle, hogs, and sheep and then the expansion of wheat production contributed to dramatic changes to the valley landscape. For 150 years, alterations to the Willamette River system have largely reflected agricultural, forestry, and urban activities. During the Oregon governorship of Tom McCall, from 1967 to 1975, Oregon gained national acclaim for its work in cleaning up the Willamette River. This recognition coincided with the national effort to cope with both water and air pollution. This included ending the dumping of most point-source pollutants into rivers and streams. These pollutants are the most egregious and readily identifiable types flowing from pipes and sewers. In addition, the Army Corps of Engineers stored seasonal water in their 13 dams and reservoirs for release during the low-flow months of August and September. This provided a major contribution to improving the water quality in the Willamette River. The waterway may be a miner's canary of sorts, revealing the flaws of a culture that believed it had bested the river.